Oops, almost ended the live. It's once again a late Friday night, so not expecting a huge turnout, but you know, I be trying to get on here once a week, you feel me? At least once a week. So, if some people come in, I talk to them. If nobody comes in, I might just turn it into like a regular video, kind of like I did last time. Hey, my boy Phil, what's poppin'? What's poppin'? Hey, bro, what fights are happening this weekend? Is there UFC fights? I can't remember. No, there's gotta be. I watched a girl miss the weight by 4 pounds and act like nothing happened. Crazy. Going to a real gym. What's a real gym? Yeah, kind of mid. Middest of the mids. That's probably why I couldn't remember, bro. I was trying to think of who fighting, and I'm like, I don't even know. Are you going to a weightlifting gym? You actually gonna do weightlifting while you're running and stuff, or are you just about to go just to go? Do do. This card is more for the hardcores. Oh, your weightlifting program starts Sunday, or your running program starts Sunday? Oh, your running program. What's the fight you're most looking forward to tomorrow then? Or do you even care about any of the fights tomorrow? Because I really don't. Like, I'm trying to think, is there anybody that I actually care? No, yeah, I mean, the main fight is good, but I don't care about it, if that makes sense. I know that sounds weird, but I just like, oh, you know who I want to see? The Dominican dude. You know what I'm talking about? Waldo? That's what I want to see. Um, Cause he hits hard, bro, but I just don't know about him, man. I need to see some improvement. I know it's kind of early, but it seems like he don't know how to do nothing except hit hard, and I need to see him do something else, or else he ain't gonna make it, bro. He ain't gonna make it with the other heavyweights that can do other stuff besides hit hard. So, but his boxing is nice though for a UFC dude. He's pretty nice. Anybody else on that card I can't really think of, so that means I don't care about it. Don't know, don't know. Is he 9-0? Damn, I didn't even know he was 9-0. Just every time he pops up, I just watch him. He caught my attention. I don't remember which fight it was, but he caught my attention. I'm like, oh, dude, nice, bro. But in the next two fights, I was like, bro, you gonna get better at wrestling? Or you gonna get better with your gas tank? Make some kind of adjustment? Like, yeah, yeah. I saw that. I saw that when I was looking at the undercard, but like I said, man, none of the other fights really um, got my attention like that. Like I'm gonna watch it just because I watch fighting every weekend, but um, I just yeah, nothing got my attention like that. Kind of the same thing with boxing. Actually, like the bare knuckle stuff is catching my attention this weekend more than everything else, bro. Like I really don't care about bare knuckle like that, but this card is straight from an entertainment standpoint. Everybody's counting Rockhold out, man. I think they're forgetting that he's on TRT now, bro. Like he looks he looks good, man. I don't know if he could beat Mike Perry, but uh, they acting like he don't have a chance. He has a chance. But yeah, that Chad Mendez one. I think Chad Mendez gonna smoke him, bro. Like I can't see it, man. Can't see it. Yeah, but he can't kick, like you said. But you never know, bro. It's bare knuckle, man. Anything could happen. You don't know how they gonna come out. That's what I like about combat sports in general. Like as much as people on social media talk shit, all of these I'll call them variations. All of these modalities are completely different. Like you could be good at bare knuckle boxing and be trash in gloves. You could be good in gloves and it's not the same fighting bare knuckle. So same thing. You could have had a good run in the UFC, go to bare knuckle and get smoked. Or the opposite. Could be some mid when all the martial arts are mixed, but some people are just good in one modality and they're not in the other. So we'll see, man. We'll see. Yeah, Mike Perry's a goat in bare knuckle because shit's not that much different than him fighting at the bar. So this is another weekend for him, bro. Just another weekend. My phone says there's 5 people in the chat, but I don't see nobody, bro. Creepy. Maybe they're bots. He was doing that while he had a UFC contract. Yeah, bro. That's what I'm saying. He's just crazy, man. I know you saw that little Zoom conversation him and Rocco had. I think that was today. That shit was funny, bro. They don't got no brain cells left. Between the both of them, they might have 3. He said, I'm gonna headbutt your hands. And Luke's just like, I'm gonna kick you in the face. If there's actually 5 people in here, can you please say something? If you're watching this right now, say something. Now it's 3. I scared them away. Yeah, that shit was hilarious, bro. But yeah, I gotta try to remember to catch that. I don't be keeping up with most of the bare knuckle events, so um, what happens usually is I'll see somebody tweet like, "Oh, that was a great bare knuckle fight," and I'm like, "God damn it, I forgot." And then I run up in there, so I'm gonna have to try to catch it from the start. Phil, have you been practicing your Portuguese or no? Haven't heard nothing from you in a while as far as Portuguese goes. Português. If you haven't been practicing, why not? Do, 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 do. Have you actually, bro, or are you just saying that? How much time do you think uh that you put in per day? Corey Q. What up? Doing chores. What kind of chores? You like doing yard work or you doing dishes? Because those two different kind of chores right there. Both tough, just different. Yeah, Phil, I said, have you been practicing your Portuguese? And I said, if you haven't, why haven't you? But you said, yeah. So I'm asking you, have you really? Or are you just saying that? Like, and then I asked you, how much time are you putting in per day? Roughly. I know you probably not like tracking it or nothing, but I'm just saying, like, you doing like a Duolingo exercise or you doing some real shit? Clothes sorting. You're not actually supposed to ever sort your clothes. You're just supposed to like throw them on the bed or on your dresser and just pretend like you're eventually gonna do it. I don't ever actually do it. I just leave them. If I tilted my camera down right now, you would see a pile of clothes, but I'm not gonna do that. Like 15 minutes per day. So what is it? Well, I was joking, but are you doing Duolingo or have you tried some other stuff yet? Some role play, pause, or like italki or something like that. Also, Corey, I've never seen you in here before, so what made you drop in here today? I'm interested. Besides being bored and sorting your clothes. Phil, I said pause, bro. I said pause instantly, bro. You can't make fun of me. But the roleplay exists outside of weird stuff. Roleplay is great for language learning. You know how we were talking about internal monologue uh, earlier today? It's actually great for that. Since you got your internal monologue running all day, anyways, basically, anytime you think of something, you can think of how you would say it in your second language. Or you could just run situations through your head like, yo, if I went to the barber shop and I wanted to ask for this, or I wanted to blah, 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 or whatever, you know. So it's pretty good. Yo, what's up, bro? I only watched your Spanish video. What is the best tip to try to advance in learning Spanish? Well, that's difficult. That's difficult to answer. It depends on what stage you're at in your Spanish journey. Because what I would recommend for somebody that's intermediate and beginner, two different places. I've made a couple videos about this before, but like to sum it up, I'm gonna assume you're a beginner. The most important thing is to get the sounds right and like to understand the structure of the language, right? So when you're communicating with somebody, it's important they understand you. And so if you think of somebody with a heavy accent in English, right, you have to strain to listen to what they're saying. The rhythm is off because they talk differently than us. So sometimes they say stuff and they pronounce it. Uh, I shouldn't say they pronounce it correctly, but they say the right word. They say it in the right place, but you still don't understand it because they said it so weird. They put the emphasis in the wrong spot, or they said the vowel longer than we usually say it or something like that. Um, and because of that, it makes communication harder, right? So my thing for people is always like learn the sounds of the language. Spanish is easy too. Like it's super phonetic. You learn how the vowels sound, and that's it. They don't change like English. Like you're not gonna have Kansas and Arkansas. Like if you know how the vowels sound, you can read any word as soon as you see it, and you know that you're saying it the right way. So that's where you start at. Learn the sounds, learn the alphabet, start learning basic words, start talking to people. Like seriously, that simple. But if you tell me where you're at in Spanish, what you're struggling with, I could give you probably something better than that. Bored and I speak Spanish sometimes. All right, respect. Where did you but where did you come from? Originally, Corey, how did you see my videos? That's what I really want to know. All right, you said you're gonna buy. Okay, you're gonna buy that book for your birthday. Okay, so I mean, like I said, if you're probably at an early stage, right? If you wanna buy that book, what do you tell me something you know? Tell me something you know. Tell me what you don't know. Do you know how to speak in the past tense? You know how to speak in the future tense? Do you know how to say any words at all? Or are you like really just starting? Because all of that stuff matters. All of that stuff matters. Kind of beginner. Grew up around Spanish speaking people and had a friend who only spoke Spanish in kindergarten. Okay. I don't doubt that. I believe it. But I would probably wipe any experience you have with the language, like kind of wipe it out of your mind. Don't think that like, oh, I'm pretty familiar with this stuff. Because I feel like a lot of people set themselves up like that. Like even heritage speakers, I know people that are Mexican or are Puerto Rican, and they're like, yeah, I can understand everything. I just blah blah blah, but they can't understand everything. They can't speak back, so you don't understand everything. If you understood everything, you'll be able to talk. So yeah, just treat yourself like a beginner. If you only know the present tense, I suggest that you start learning to speak in the past tense. The past tense is super important because if you think about a conversation that you have on a daily basis, if I just walked up to you, I started talking to you, I say how you doing, right? That's present tense. You're gonna tell me, hey, I'm doing all right, can't complain, blah blah blah. After that, it's like, hey, what'd you do today? What'd you eat today? What you got going on later today? We're not saying like, what are you doing right now? We're not saying what time do you normally get to work? What time did you get to work? What time are you gonna go to lunch? What time will you? What time did you? What did you? What will you? Everything is like on this side of the present. So the present tense is like talking about stuff that you habitually do and like talking about stuff that's actually going on right now. But that don't happen as often as people think. So when you can only speak in the present, it makes it really hard to communicate because how do you tell me that you ate something? You're gonna say I eat this, and I'm gonna be like, that's cool. I like to eat that stuff too. Or you're gonna tell me like you go to the movies, and I'm not gonna know that you're saying you went to the movies on Saturday or something like that. You know what I mean? So past and the future, very important. I suggest getting a hold of that as early as possible, which is why it's important to speak to people. You find out what you can and can't do like really early, and just from talking to them and hearing them say this stuff, you'll be able to repeat it back. I don't think it's ever really like too early to start talking to people. Corey says can't recall, but you're learning Spanish too. Corey, what stage of your Spanish are you at? Are you beginner, intermediate, or advanced? Hey, and B reacts. What's up, bro? What time is it in India right now? Hindi is different. Use the same tense for everything. For instance, E, but just change is to was, if that makes sense. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know enough about the language to speak on it, but even in that, in that context that you just gave, if you don't know how to say the word was, how will you ever tell me that you ate something? You know what I mean? Um, so in any language, unless you're in the Amazon jungle, and I use that as a very specific reference, unless you're in the Amazon jungle, it's important to speak in the past and future. There is one language that I know of, and I don't know what it's called, but they don't speak in anything except the present tense, and that's because they were isolated from the rest of the world, and so the only thing that matters to them is like stuff that's happening right now. Like they only care about eating. They only care about eating and like they only care about being in the present. You try to talk to them about God or stuff like that, they're gonna be like, well, "Who's that?" You know what I mean? So, but most languages that you learn, the past and the future is important. Speaking of which, if you're learning Spanish and you're listening right now, the present tense, the present in Spanish is not the same as the present in English. I know that's weird because you're like, how can now not be now? But it's not the same. The present, like you define what the present tense is. So in English, right now is only right now when I'm talking. It's not 5 seconds ago. It's not 5 seconds into the future. In Spanish, the present tense extends a little bit longer than this very moment right now, which is why English speakers get real confused about ahora and or sometimes like someone will say like they'll say something in the present tense like te ayudo. They say te ayudo and you think, oh, like you're helping me. No, it's not I'm helping you. It's like I'm going to help you real soon, but like not right now. So the same way we say I will help you, you can say something in the present tense and it can be referring to a little bit in the future. Beginner, but I understand a lot of words, but I can't speak full sentences on the spot. Can I all the time? Yes, I can all the time. I knew what you meant. Yes, all the time. I have to use Spanish a lot at my job, um, and my wife's mom, who just became a citizen yesterday, by the way, after 33 years, she got her citizenship. Um, yeah, we only speak to each other in Spanish, so it's uh it's tough sometimes, but definitely can. What's my favorite disgusting cheese sandwich? I'm not even sure I know what that means. How can it be my favorite and it's disgusting, bro? I don't like disgusting stuff. But the only kind of cheese sandwich that I like is grilled cheese. Grilled cheese and tomato soup. Whoo! Any day of the week, baby. I'm doing it. Especially like if it's like a little bit chilly outside, you get some warm tomato soup so that you could dip the grilled cheese in there. Go crazy every single time. Let's go. Yeah, man. I be forgetting. Phil, you might know about this, but like, yo, that civics test, the test to become a citizen, the questions on there are crazy, bro. I'm like, yo, every American in this country would fail this test if they weren't specifically studying for it. And they still might fail. Like, bro, I think one of the most simple questions that I saw that was actually kind of difficult. It said when was the Constitution written, and it said everyone answered 1776, but it's not. It's not 1776, obviously, because that was the Declaration of Independence. So it's just questions like that. Like a regular person is gonna be like, "Bro, I don't know when the Constitution was written. Like I have to look it up. That's what I got a cell phone for." Um, And just what else? She told me they asked her who was who was the president when World War I started. Um, like just yeah, just random questions like that. Where I'm like, bro, if imagine if a government official pulled up on you at random times and asked you these questions, and if you didn't get it right, like they could just snatch your citizenship away, bro. I would have been lost my citizenship. What? The Legend 27. What you on, bro? What are you talking about, man? Do I need to call 911 for you? Are you having a stroke, bro? You just typing anything on the keyboard. I'm on your page right now. Why you got a PETA protest on your page, bro? Are you part of PETA? Or are you making fun of PETA? Now I'm interested. And why is your name The Legend? If you gotta put a 27 after The Legend, you're not really that much of a legend. Because there's like 26 other dudes that thought the same thing. You also have a video that says Alvin's gay song. What you got going on over there, bro? What you got going on over there? I should be back to Africa. Do I find myself mixing up languages sometimes? No, I don't mix up languages. But what I will say is that, and I mean, you might be able to relate to this because you speak two languages. When you when you can speak two languages well, there's cultural references. There's just all kinds of references that you can't make with people that only speak one language. So I do find myself a little bit uncomfortable speaking to anyone that only speaks one language. It's not like, oh, you only speak English, I'm like superior. No, like if they only speak Spanish too, because there's certain things that don't sound as good in English. And if I'm talking to an English speaker, I'm like, I just gotta do it. But if you're speaking to someone that speaks both the languages that you speak, it's kind of like unlimited. If you did forget a word in one of the languages, you could say it in the other one. Or if there's a concept that makes more sense in one of the languages, it's just cooler to say it in that language. And a lot of the times that's English. A lot of the times, even if you're having a full on Spanish conversation, there's just some phrases that just hit. They slap different in English, man. But I can say the same thing about Spanish. Like me and my wife, I don't think we ever really used the word gossip. Gossip has like a super, ooh, I don't know. It has like a high school girl connotation in English, whereas like chismosa or like bochinche, like they have different connotations in Spanish. I don't really know how to explain it. If you know, then you know. But like, I have no problem like saying that I gossip in Spanish. I would never say that in English. I would never be like, yeah, I love gossiping. Because people gonna be like, what? Like, you're a grown man, bro. You gossiping? But that's what I'm saying. So, like, it's just different. It's different. So, sometimes you just gotta skip that part of the convo. If you if you speaking only English, you just gotta be like, I can't tell this dude that I like gossiping. Like I gotta just not say nothing right now. But those are some some good questions. What do I use instead of gossip in English? Nothing. That's what I'm saying. Like gossip. That's exactly what I mean. It's a different culture. So like gossiping is like pretty much just frowned upon in America. You can do it. Like I'm a grown man. If I want to do something, I can do it. But it's never gonna be like funny to be like, yeah, I love gossiping. But in Spanish, it's funny. Like it just is. Like I don't know how to explain it. Um, so yeah, there's not like another word in English. Like it's just gossip. But it don't hit the same, man. I don't say that I gossip in English. Like I just don't. How to explain that? I don't know, man. Some things cannot be. No, no. Chit chatting is like what we're doing right now. Chit chatting is synonymous with like having like a little talk. Like yeah, we just chit chatting. We're not talking about nothing serious. If you're not talking about nothing serious, then you're chit chatting. But gossiping, it has a connotation that you're talking about people. So like, watch out for that dude because he likes to gossip. So don't tell him your business. You get what I'm saying? Whereas like I said, chit chatting is just like, hey yo, do you want to come into the office? We just up in here chit chatting, not nothing. We ain't doing nothing serious. But yeah, Phil, we just talk. That's it. We just talk. We don't gossip. That's bad. There's a particular Lil Wayne verse that I'm thinking of, but that's a little too much cussing. I ain't gonna do that one. I don't really mind cussing on my channel, but um, sometimes it's a little too much because it's like 8 cuss words in one sentence. But the gist of it is that he doesn't like guys that gossip like women. That's what I say. Guys and women were not the words that he used, but yeah. Oh man. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. Don't get me wrong. Like I cuss a lot, especially in real life. But it's like I don't know who's gonna be watching these videos. You know what I mean? I don't know if like some 12-year-old has this video open in the kitchen. Like I don't want somebody's mom to just be like, "What are you watching? Turn that off and unsubscribe from him." So you know, I try not to drop any hard cuss words on here. I might occasionally, but I'm not just like back to back, just vulgarity. I'm not doing that. Um, I said this before on here, but somebody actually like left me a comment one time, like, "Hey, like your Spanish videos are super educational, but I can't even play them because there's too much cussing. So maybe don't cuss so much." And basically, I replied back like, "Hey, fuck you," but but I got what they were saying. But I was just like, "Hey, this is who I am. I'm going to cuss. I'm never gonna just like stop. It's not gonna happen." But I get what they were saying, and I agree. Like there's levels to profanity. You can drop some here and there, and then there's just like, dang, there's so much happening that I can't even play this video out loud because people are gonna look at me like, what are you listening to and stuff like that. So yeah, Phil, yeah, I got a limit too. Like I gotta keep it, gotta keep it down here. But I mean, Phil, you know me in real life. Like, if this was a personal voice note, there would have been 50 cuss words in 60 seconds. So, but that's just how I talk, man. I don't really, cuss words don't bother me. I was in the military. I played sports. I still compete. Um, and I work for the government. So, like, my daily life is just a bunch of cuss words. It's just even in professional settings, like people are giving slideshows and they're like, we need to take this effing thing and we need to improve it. And it's just like, that's just how everyone talks in my field. So it's nothing to me. I don't even think twice when I hear it. But I know other people feel a certain way about cuss words. So I'm aware of that. Yeah. I was in the military. I just got finished, bro. I just got finished in 2019. I guess that's not just finished, but it wasn't that long ago. I did in total it was like 8 years. So it's a long portion of my life that I'm glad is over now. And had I had the level of Spanish that I had now when I was in, I could have made a lot of extra money. Yeah, somewhat of a neutral respect thing. Yeah. The situation definitely matters. Yeah, I mean, if I'm with my boys, um, or like I said, if I'm around athletes, it's just like, bro, that's what we do. It's nothing. It's nothing crazy. Um, and yeah, exactly what I was just about to say. What you just said in this comment, bro. People can't fathom. Like I've never cussed in front of my parents in my entire life, bro. I'm 31 years old now. Not one time. It doesn't even occur to me, bro, because I grew up not cussing in front of them. Like my parents, they run a tight ship. You cannot cuss in my house, and they don't cuss either. So it just doesn't. It don't even pop in my head. And so it's not. That's what I try to tell people. It's not like, oh my god, I have to like really work hard to not cuss. It's not really like that. It's just if I'm allowed to cuss, I'm gonna do it, bro. If I'm in a situation that doesn't allow me to, I'll be like, okay, no cussing here. So that's what I'm kind of on right now. I'm like, I'll just chill for YouTube a little bit. But ever shot someone during 8 years? If I did, I wouldn't say it on YouTube. But even still, no, I have not. That wasn't even. No, I did not. That's the answer you're looking for. But as a as a tip, I'm gonna give you a tip about American Western culture. You're never supposed to ask somebody that question right there. I don't even know why, just because it could bring up some very bad memories for people. But since I was a kid, we were told like, hey, don't ever ask, like veterans or cops like the stuff that they might have lived through. You know what I mean? I don't care. Like I said, I didn't do none of that, so I'm good. But you could run into somebody and then they just gonna break down crying in front of you, and you're gonna be like, "Oops," you know, or they might start strangling you. You never know. So, just a little tip from me. But nah, my time was chill. I was military intelligence anyway, so like I was always behind a computer in a dark room doing this right here, looking at a screen all day and then going to sleep. Man, I almost been on 40 minutes. This one going by fast, my boys. I think I might stay on till 9:30 or so. Another 15, 20 minutes. I mean, unless it's popping, unless people are just asking crazy questions, then, stay on. Do I still practice Spanish? Depends on what you mean by that. I mean, to me, I look at my Spanish just like my English. Like there's always more to learn. Like I still hear words in English that I don't know, or or maybe that I do know, but I've never heard it in that context before. So stuff like that. You just find more colorful ways of talking. The more intelligent people you talk to, the more situations you're in, the more you learn, just stuff like that. So I read a lot in English and in Spanish. So I'm always learning. I'm always learning more stuff. It never stops. So if that's what you mean by learning, then yes, or practicing. Sorry, if that's what you mean by practicing, then yes, I still practice. But I practice my English too. Um, but yeah, for instance, my boss. He's not really my boss, but he's in the position over me. He was talking to somebody today, and he said, "Are you?" Uh, he said, "Are you abreast to the situation?" And then, like, not much longer after that, he said something about keeping abreast of developments. And, like, I speak English, so through context, I knew what it meant. But I was like, you know what? I've never used the word abreast before. Like, I was like, that's, you got, I literally, after he got done talking to the dude, I'm like, yo, Caleb, you got a very nice vocabulary, bro. Like, I respect that. It's not the first time I heard him say something where I'm like, you know what? I've never used that word before. Um, so just like that, there's stuff that I hear. Obviously, Spanish is my second language, so there's more words I hear in Spanish that I don't know. But even in English, like I said, I'm in a professional field with like professionals that take themselves very seriously, that are always like increasing their knowledge, and so their vocabularies and their knowledge base gets bigger, and mine does too from talking and listening to them. Like as far as sitting down for it, I never practiced Spanish like that. I guess the answer would be no. But it's not like I was doing that and I stopped. Like my Spanish, pretty much from day one was talking like this. So the only way that I would change that answer is like when I watch TV shows or movies in English, it's always obviously because it's my native language. It's always 100% entertainment. Um, I'm not watching a war movie in English, like trying to hear new words or like seeing if I can pick out phrases or blah blah blah. Whereas like even still, when I watch stuff in Spanish, I'm always like, what new phrase can I pick up from here? Or like, what's a word that I might not know, and can I figure it out without looking it up? Blah blah blah. So in that sense, I guess I do sit down and like intently focus, but I don't like do like workbook stuff or like actually practice anything. I just have combos, work on stuff that I understanding people from up north in English. No, I'm guessing you're talking about English. No, no. I so for one, when you speak when something's your native language, like pretty much any variation of it is gonna be like relatively understandable, unless you're dealing with someone that's like on the extreme opposite side of you. But um, also like I'm like well cultured. I got a crazy ear for accents. Like I when I listen to actors do American accents, I'm like this dude's British or this dude's a Kiwi or this dude's Australian. Like my shit is sharp. So I've lived in a lot of places. I lived in Germany when I was a kid. I used to travel all over Europe. I used to imitate. I wish I could put a picture on here, but one time they wrote an article about me because I used to do this British accent, and like everyone thought it was like the funniest thing. So I went viral on like UK Twitter a long time ago. But yeah, what Phil just said, it's more annoying, right? So if you're if you're from, me and Phil, we're both from Texas. We're from the, if you don't know, I grew up with Phil. We're from the same part of Texas. We speak with pretty neutral accents. I speak with less of a neutral accent when I'm with like my family or something, but either way, we got neutral Southern accents. People will hear us and say, "Yeah, I could tell you're from the South." When dudes from like New York or Philly, when they have strong accents, it's not like you don't understand them. It's just you have to pay attention more, especially because they use a lot of like different slang than us and stuff like that. Like a lot, like if you're from Texas, um, you might you gonna say like, "No, I'm talking about stuff like that," but like, what did New York dudes say? I like, oh yeah, New York. Like, fuck is you talking about, B? Fuck is you talking about, B? Fuck is you talking about, B? And it's like, it's not hard to understand, but it's just like it's stuff that we don't say. So like the first time, if you're not paying attention, you might be like, what? Like, okay. Or like, it's mad brick outside. It's mad brick outside. Yeah, I can figure out that it's mad brick means it's cold because it's cold as shit outside, and you just said it's mad brick. But I don't say that. So the first time I hear it, I'm gonna be like, "What? What is this dude talking about, bro?" Yeah, and they do speak faster. Phil, if you're into language nerd stuff, I could send you like some stuff about why they talk faster. But essentially, it has to do with like geography and temperature. Like whenever it's colder, people like usually talk faster. And whenever it's hot, people usually talk slow, which is why like those country people in Texas, Georgia, Alabama, they got that real slow southern drawl because it's hot and you don't want to spend too much energy. So you talk real slow like this. But if it's cold and your lips all numb and shit, you're not trying to keep your mouth open for too long. So, latest Spanish movie or show that I enjoyed. Ooh, The Marked Heart. That's good. If you didn't know, they just dropped season 2. I don't know if you're keeping up with it, but I was actually gonna start the next season tomorrow. Um, the last show that I watched and enjoyed. You know what? It's actually it's on Disney Plus. It's called Gina J. Gina Ye. It's like a Puerto Rican version of like High School Musical basically. But like this girl Gina, she goes from America to Puerto Rico um to like this reggaeton school to like become like a star. And so but then she's finding out a lot of stuff. Like she thought her dad was dead, but she goes back to the island and people are like telling her that this dude might still be alive. Her mom's acting all weird and stuff. Super good show. Um, what did I watch before that? I don't know. I have to pull up my Netflix account because I can't think of none of the shows right now. But I'll be watching good shows all the time. There's a real old show that I just watched called El Puntero, but it's in like Argentina. And if you're not used to El Voceo, like the way they talk with Vos, it'll be a real difficult watch. So like I said, I don't know how much you know, but like a regular someone that's speaking with tu, they're gonna say hablas or like whatever. In Argentina, they're gonna say hablas, like they put the emphasis on the second part, and all of the verbs that you can think of that kind of change Um, for example, uh, okay, like decir, right? Decir, the two form, like you say dime, right? But with vos, you say decime. So all they do is just take off the last letter, and that's the command form. And so it's a little bit different. If you're not used to it, like it can really it really sound like they're not speaking Spanish actually. Che boludo, pelotudo. Oh, you just watched too. Oh, I'm interested. I'm interested because when I got finished with the first season, I'm like, that was crazy. That was a little crazy. I didn't know where they were really gonna go with it in the second season, but I'm interested now. I might start tonight actually, depending on what time I go to sleep. I had a pretty long day, so I don't think I'm gonna be staying up too late tonight. I just saw your comment. New York sounds a little bit like the UK, the way they stress. So you're not wrong. You're not wrong because like everyone here came from the UK, right? But actually, the way they speak in the South is closer to how they spoke in the UK at the time that we came over here. They say like King George would understand someone in the South now better than he would understand people in the UK now if he was to like come back alive right now. But what happens is in a place like New York, they keep like constant contact with the UK. It's like a big airport there, you know what I'm saying? And so they've evolved with the UK a little bit more. So what you hear from Southern people now is the old English accent, which you hear from New Yorkers now, which is why you think it sounds like the UK accent. It's just because they're in more contact with them. Like even like UK drill and New York drill music, that genre, they're very similar. They be using the same beats and everything because like it's those hubs they're connected. You know what I mean? But yeah, every accent in America you can trace back to an accent over there in the UK. Like a lot of the Louisiana accents, you can like depending on where it's at, you can trace those back to the Irish and the French sounds that they came from. And I'm not talking about people that actually speak Creole. I'm talking about people that don't speak Creole that just have an accent. You could trace back those sounds to Irish people and French people. And then people in Baltimore, they just talk crazy. But you can also hear the England in their accent too. But they crack me up because they say like to, do, you. So weird. That's who I be having trouble understanding. Anybody from Baltimore, sorry if you had to hear me talk shit about y'all, but it's a little bit of a crazy accent. You heard about Baltimore? Yeah, you wanna you wanna practice your English listening skills? Go ahead and pull up some people from Baltimore speaking. Sometimes I don't even be knowing what they're saying. Like just different. And like I said, we all use different slang and stuff. So depending on uh, depending on where you're at in a state, the slang could be real different than another state. For instance, in Texas, we used to say going live, and it used to be something vulgar, right? I'm not gonna say what it is, but I'm just gonna say I'm just gonna say we used to say that person is a go liver, or we used to say like, yeah, that person was going live this weekend, right? So, um, whenever like social media started popping, and so it was like somebody be like, "Oh yeah, she going live right now." I'm like, "What? She going live on the?" But they were saying like she's going live on Instagram or like YouTube live or whatever. So that's why like I don't ever put like I'm going live. 'Cause I can't even say it with a serious face because I'm just like that's a crazy thing to say. But somebody else that's not from Texas, they're gonna be like, I don't get it. What's going live? Why is that funny? Like, why won't you say it? Different slang, different places, different slang. I can't. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying what going live is on here, but just know it's vulgar. If you really think about it, if you use your head, you'll you'll probably guess. You'll probably guess what it is. Just know, I ain't never going live. It's not something I would do. So yeah, moving on. All right, Phil, I already know you about to say. I'm broadcasting on YouTube. Yeah, exactly, bro. I am broadcasting. I'm not going live, bro. Hey, hold that real fast. My wife texted me like 3 times. I must be in trouble. Chill, use your head. Yeah, that's gonna be way funnier to me and Phil than it is to y'all. Y'all probably like, what these dudes talking about, bro? But anyways, yeah. But that's a challenge in all languages, right? So it's actually worse when it's your second language because, for instance, all right, actually, yeah, I got a good example. So, like, two different things. Like, in the South, like, we say y'all, everybody says y'all. That's normal, super, super normal. And it's actually becoming, like, more normal, like, worldwide now, just because of the internet. But, like, when I went to college in New York, and, like, people would literally just be like, bro, stop pretending. Like, why do you keep forcing it? Why you keep saying y'all every 5 seconds? Like, you're trying to sound like you're, like, so Southern. And I'll be like, nah, bro, like, that's how we talk. Like I'm not about to say you guys. Like that shit's weird, bro. I would never say you guys. I just said y'all. But like some people up north, they say you guys. They say yous, you all, whatever people say. I don't even know what people say. Like y'all is super normal. Imagine if English is my second language and I learned it in the South, and I went up north and people were like, "Oh, don't say y'all that much. Like no one actually talks like that. Blah blah blah." Um, it makes you feel like insecure. You know what I mean? Because you're like, "Oh, this isn't my native language. Am I doing something wrong?" If everyone's telling me no one talks like that, um, then it makes you feel weird. So that's something that's tough to deal with in a second language. So there's y'all, and then another thing too is like half my mom's side of the family is from Texas, my dad's side of the family is from Louisiana. The part of Louisiana that they're from, most of them are from Alexandria. We got family in Baton Rouge and New Orleans too, but most of them are from Alexandria. But like a lot of times growing up, my people they're old, so they said commode. They didn't say toilet. Like it's pretty normal to say commode. And then from the military, like latrine. Lots of people say latrine. So like sometimes I say commode, sometimes I say latrine. Most people do not say the word commode. Lots of people don't even know what a commode is. So again, imagine you learn English, yeah, latrine, except it has a e at the end, but yeah, latrine. So imagine you learn English by talking to me, and you go say commode to somebody. They're gonna be like, I don't know who taught you that, but that's wrong. Like the word is toilet, the word is bathroom, blah blah blah. And again, you're gonna feel like a little insecure because it's not your first language. You're not gonna have that confidence. Like no one could tell me not to say commode. I'll just be like, bro, I say whatever I want to say. Like it's literally a word. You know what I'm talking about. I'm gonna keep saying it. But you wanna when you speak a second language, you wanna fit in. You wanna sound like you know what you're talking about. If people know that you're learning a language, they're gonna like try to give you more corrections than usual and tell you, "Oh, that's not. I'm from Brazil. What, bro? What are you talking about? No, I'm not from Brazil. Where did that come from?" Um, you threw off my whole train of thought, bro. But yeah, so like that's the kind of stuff you'll deal with in a second language, right? So, but yeah, latrine is a very military thing. But if you're from a military town, then a lot of people will say that. So latrine is normal for me to say. My dad's in the military. I was in the military. I work for the military essentially right now. So if I tell somebody like, "Oh, he's in a latrine," no one thinks twice. If you talk to a regular person and you say latrine, they're gonna be like, "What? Why are you saying latrine? You mean the bathroom?" You be like, "Yeah, yeah, the bathroom. Whatever. Same thing." So, and to be honest, I think it's worse in Spanish because there's so many like different heavy dialects. So there's a lot of words. Yeah, mess hall. There's a lot of words that I learned from Caribbean Spanish speakers that even my wife would just be like, "What is that? Like, what are you talking about?" Or like when we're in Puerto Rico, they'll say something I don't know what it is, and she'll be like, "What? Like, what is he talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, what do you call it?" You know what I'm saying? Like, which is why earlier when I was talking about gossip, I said two words because there's a word I would use, but then there's a more general word that non-Caribbean Spanish speakers use. So it's a challenge, yeah. When you're speaking a second language, using words that people don't normally use, the first thing they think is like you're wrong because I'm a native speaker, so you're automatically wrong if I don't know what you're talking about. No, my wife is not Puerto Rican. What? Hey, bro, how you just gonna jump in here just saying random stuff? No, 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 my wife is not Puerto Rican. I learned Spanish from Puerto Ricans and Colombians, and so I go to Puerto Rico all the time. No, I didn't learn Spanish for her, no, but her family speaks Spanish. They pretty much only speak Spanish, so it helps. Uh, but yeah, Phil, mess hall. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Chow. You know what I'm saying? Like we say chow a lot. Like I grew up with my dad saying chow for food. So like, yes, let's go get some chow. I don't think twice about it. That's not normal talk. So you go somewhere that's non-military and you say chow, and people are gonna be like, "What? Like, are you talking about food? Oh, okay. Yeah, we could go get some food." So yeah, that's just part of the process, man. That's part of the process. If you speak a language, yeah, he is saying random stuff, but I'm guessing he's new, or else he would probably know most of this stuff already. So, what's your name? Planet Moolah. Yeah, no, no, no. We're saying random in the sense that none of it is true, and we don't know how you heard it. Not that like you're just literally just typing random stuff. What what's your is English your native language, Planet Moolah? I feel like Planet Moolah, like you have to speak English to have a name like that. I don't know. I could be wrong. Yeah, or saying it's 1600. Yeah, stuff like that, right? So just depending on where you're at, depending on who you're talking to, you're gonna have a different vocabulary and a different set of words than someone on the other side of the country in a different culture. That's the important thing too, because like I said, if you're in a military culture, it really wouldn't matter if you're in Texas or New York. The culture is the same, but when you're in a different culture, then the words change. English, but learning Spanish because you want to visit Venezuela. Why on earth would you want to visit Venezuela, bro? There must be a girl there. I'm 99% sure you want to go visit a girl in Venezuela because you're not going for the economy. That's a dangerous move, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. But I'll wait for you to confirm that there's a girl there. It's a beautiful country. Interesting. I mean, I'm not gonna disagree. No girl. That's a surprise. So you just decided that you want to visit Venezuela. Okay, that's cool. It's a bit dangerous, man. It's really, really unstable there right now. I got some friends that I don't want to say too much. I'm gonna just say I know a bunch of people that are making an attempt to escape right now. Uh, so rough times over there, man. I have helped a few people out financially in Venezuela because I can because their currency is like. Um, but if you want to go there, I would obviously like, yeah, do what your heart wants, bro. Just be safe. Just I would not tell anybody you're going. I would just pull up, try to stay in the safest places. uh, where are you getting your information from? Venezuela is worse than Colombia. Trust me, it's definitely, definitely worse because like I said, the all Venezuelans right now, like the problem in Colombia is that all of these Venezuelans are going there and not. I'm not saying that in a bad way. They're escaping the crisis that's happening in Venezuela, so they're going to Colombia, and obviously when they get to Colombia, they have nothing. What happens when you have nothing? Usually you turn to crime, especially like if you're hungry that day, you're gonna do something to get some food in your stomach, right? So if you can think of if you think of the attitude that I don't want to say anything wrong here. I'm not trying to like say anything controversial, but if you think of the attitude that a lot of Americans here have towards Mexican immigrants, that is the attitude that a lot of Colombians have towards Venezuelans. Like literally, they hear the Venezuelan accent and they're like, "Get away from me," because I feel uneasy. You know what I mean? And like I said, I have a lot of Venezuelan friends. I have people here that have escaped Venezuela, and I know a lot of people there that are. I'm not gonna say they're trying to escape, but they're they're there and they don't want to be there. So they're dealing with a lot. So yes, it is definitely dangerous. I bet you if you type in foreigner killed in Venezuela, you might see something. But yeah, just be safe, man. Be safe. Definitely don't tell people you're American if you can help it. I don't know what level of Spanish you have, but pretend you're from somewhere else, not America. But the Venezuelan accent is very unique. It is very Caribbean, but it's uh, very unique to them. Their slang is very, very, very unique. Like sapegato, chamo. They say chamo a lot. They say vaina a lot. Lots of Caribbean Spanish speakers say vaina, but they have their own thing going on. But yeah, the way they aspirate is kind of unique. There's only a few places that kind of do like the nosotros instead of nosotros. And obviously, like everyone in Venezuela doesn't speak the same, but instantly when you hear a Venezuelan accent, you're like, yeah, this person is from Venezuela. It's very, 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 very unique. So if you don't have that accent, now you're automatically a foreigner. Where would a foreigner come from? So yeah, you should rethink. That doesn't mean don't go, but definitely, um, you definitely don't want to pull up to countries that are in an economic crisis that are not in good standing with the United States. Like I said, there's just people get desperate when they need money, and so there's a lot of kidnappings there and a lot of extortion. What do I think of El Salvador? I think that their president right now is the coolest dude in the entire world. Literally the coolest dude in the entire world. Went from the most dangerous country in Latino America to the, according to him and the country's statistics, the safest country there in Latino America. So he literally rounded up everyone that he even thought was MS-13 and put them in their own jail. Is it a human rights violation? A little bit, but how dangerous it was before. Like I just feel like sometimes you gotta make some tough decisions. And what he says, what Bukele says, is that like, hey, when they swept out the Nazis, they had to crush the Nazis. They had to get rid of anyone that had any ties to Nazism to become a better Germany. So that's what he's doing to the country. He stamped out MS-13. I literally know people that went back home for the first time in a long time and walked the streets and cried. That's not a made up story. I didn't just make that up. I know someone that went back home and cried from being able to walk in the street at nighttime. That lets you know how dangerous it was before and where it's at now. You'll be definitely way safer going to El Salvador right now than you would going to Venezuela. But that's just my opinion. Um, you know, do some research, really think about it. I don't know what exactly you wanted to do in Venezuela, but if there's something specific there that you wanted to do, obviously, like you have to go there to do it. If you just wanted to go, just to travel and talk to people, I don't know, man. I might reconsider it until things get better. Let's see. I'm gonna just for you. I'm gonna look up a travel advisory. In 2018, Venezuela was the world's most dangerous company. But let's see for 2023. Let's see what we got going on here. Before I look that up, I'm gonna pronounce this word for you. Can I pronounce the word result clearly? Result. Result. Okay, now let's look at this travel advisory. All right. In case you've never looked at a travel advisory before, there's 4 levels. One, two, three, four. Four being the most dangerous. One is exercise normal precautions. That's basically gonna be anywhere. That's not the United States. Two is exercise increased caution. I don't have any particular countries in mind right now, but two is like, you know, probably any country in South America is probably going to be two because the United States feels like everything below us is somewhat dangerous because there's pickpockets and stuff like that, right? Three is reconsider travel. Four is do not travel. I'm gonna tell you right now, without even looking, there's only a couple countries that are level 4, and that's before I tell you what Venezuela is. North Korea, Russia, Afghanistan, um, and parts of Mexico. I'm gonna tell you right now, in 2023, right now, as of January 12th, 2023, Venezuela is level 4. Do not travel. Do not travel to Venezuela due to crime, civil unrest, kidnapping, and the arbitrary enforcement of local laws. What that means is wrongful detentions, uh, and false accusations. Like that's not good. And like I said, I read a few stories about people being in countries like that and just straight up getting locked up for 3 months or something in the world's worst jail, and like just being let out one day and they're like, "What did I do?" And they're just like, "Fuck out of here." You know what I mean? So, nah, man, it's definitely not safe. 100% not safe. Let me see if they have anything specific on here. If you decide to travel to Venezuela, avoid all land border crossings into Venezuela on the Colombian border. Ensure you have a valid Venezuelan visa. Visas are not available upon arrival. That's kind of dumb. Develop a communication plan with family. Establish a proof of life protocol. That's what I'm saying, man. They're telling you to do all this stuff. Do not take unregulated taxis from the airport and avoid ATMs. Consider hiring a professional security organization. Consider purchasing medical evacuation insurance. Be prepared for the high risk of indefinite arbitrary detention on charges without consular access. You've been to South Africa and that place felt dangerous. I mean, I heard it was. Some places that are just not on my list to travel. South Africa's not on my list to travel. Venezuela's not on my list to travel. I really don't want to go anywhere that's having an economic crisis. Like I said, civil wars and economic crises, bro, count me out. Whenever people are doing bad, they're willing to do bad stuff. And that's just what it is. I don't go to poor places in America. I have nothing against poor people, but I'm not gonna like walk into inner city Chicago because they might have like some nice painting somewhere or something, or like even if they have a museum. I'm just gonna be like the risk to reward here is just not. It's not a good ratio. Like I don't know what Venezuela has. I'm sure they have good stuff. I've seen a lot of videos from people that have traveled to Venezuela actually, and like the nice people that they encountered seem really nice, but the person that kidnaps you is the only person that matters. It doesn't matter if you talk to 50 nice people that day, and the last one kidnaps you and extorts you because he thinks you're a millionaire, which is what a lot of them think. Um, like I said, I got lots of friends in Colombia, Venezuela, and lots of countries in that area. And because the exchange rate is so crazy, it's hard for them to conceptualize that here we're just regular people. Because, 100 of my dollars is a million of your dollars. So I'm a millionaire. I'm super wealthy, but I'm not. Like I barely pay my rent. I get another check. I pay my car note. I pay my insurance. I pay all of this stuff. I got a little bit of money to spend each check. I'm not rich. They can't understand that. And you don't want someone that's hungry and thinks you're rich looking at you as a meal ticket. So, like I said, I mean, if you change your mind, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool too. You're an adult. Make your own decisions. Because one thing that I do is I never let anyone just like tell me something and I'm like, oh, okay. It's like, all right, I'll take what you said, I'll keep it in mind, and I'll do more research about it. So maybe you didn't know Venezuela was dangerous, but maybe you research and you're like, I'm still gonna go. I'm just gonna go to this spot that seems to be a lot safer. There has to be somewhere that's safe in Venezuela, I'm sure. They can't just be killing everybody there. That sounds bad, but it's true. Just like Mexico. Mexico has some really bad spots. It's got some spots that I heard like nothing really happens. So, but I don't know if you saw that news report earlier this year. That would have been like a month or two ago, where like two Americans got killed in Mexico, and like two other ones got kidnapped. That was a level 4 spot. Literally was a travel advisory that said do not travel to this part of Mexico. They went anyways because that's what people do. Either they don't look at the travel advisories or they don't take it seriously, and they got open fired on for literally no reason. The cartel just pulled up to their car and took them out of the car. Mexico's kind of dangerous. Yeah, some places in Mexico are dangerous. Some places here are dangerous. Like I said, inner city Chicago, Baton Rouge, New Orleans, I'm not gonna be in any of those spots. Philadelphia, not gonna catch me there. And obviously the whole city isn't just like, oh, you step in there and like it's just shootings, but the bigger the city is, the more crime there is, the more murders happen. New Orleans, Chicago, Philadelphia, consistently murder capitals of the country. So there's certain places that I just, yeah, Detroit. I was thinking, I couldn't think of it in my head. I'm like, there's somewhere else where Detroit. Everyone like people that live in Detroit will straight up say like, don't stop at red lights like after 11 p.m. Houston is another place. You will never catch me in Houston. I'm from Texas, so I know like Houston is not where I want to be ever. Like it's just not a place for me. I'm not a fan of big cities, much less big cities where murders happen a lot. The Bronx is not as bad as you think anymore. The Bronx was like a 1980s, 1990s dangerous place, but like a lot of those places are like getting gentrified. So I would probably go to the Bronx before I went to Houston. Maybe just because I don't know the Bronx like that. Whereas, like, I'm not going to Houston. Uh, Nuevo Laredo. I don't know. I have to look it up. Let me see where it was. Where did? Oh yeah. That's where it was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this was in two. This was in. This was like two months ago, maybe, or maybe it wasn't. Hold on. No, I think it was Matamoros. I don't know. Regardless, let me look up the travel advisory for this place, and I could tell you. It's because a lot of the towns, look, the names are similar. Yep, nope. That is level 4 on the trip on the travel advisory too. So won't catch me there either. Yeah, no, Mexico City. Yeah. So sorry, I read both of those at the same time. My family's from roughly Dallas. Dallas. It just depends. All these places depend, right? Depends on where you go. There's always a wealthy part of any city. There's always a really poor part of any city. Problem is, like I said, the bigger the city is, the more defined those two areas are. It's like this is the wealthy part. You can't even get in here, and this is the poor part. If you get caught here, you might get shot. Whereas like where I'm from, Killeen's got some violence too. But like the closer you get to the country, the closer you get to like not big cities, it's like yeah, I probably wouldn't go on this side of town, but if you drive through there, it's not like somebody's gonna shoot your car or like box you in or something. Like I said, you're in Houston, you might get carjacked, bro. Like straight up. Mexico City, nah. Um, like I said, everywhere has dangerous places and dangerous people, but I've heard Mexico City is not that bad. My wife was in Mexico City like alone last year. Granted, she has family there that she linked up with. San Antonio. I used to live in San Antonio. So I heard San Antonio's gotten worse. I can't really speak on San Antonio because I haven't been there in like 10 years. But like literally last night I was watching this boxing event and there's this boxer named Jason Lee. And I didn't even know he got killed in San Antonio like 2 weeks ago, April 12th. So yeah, like 2 weeks ago. So 7 months ago, he got shot with an AK-47, caught like 11 bullets in his legs, made a comeback, and so like Sometime at the beginning of this year, he made this promo video. He's like, "I'm back. The doctor said I would never walk again, but clearly that's not true. I turned my life around. I'm done with the streets. I'm blah blah. I'm focused on boxing now." And then he got killed 2 weeks ago in a gang shooting. Was he actually active, or was he trying to get away from it and he couldn't because San Antonio is a small city? I don't know, man. But when I lived in San Antonio, it wasn't that bad. Had a few, had a few altercations, but I was never like shot at. Um, Never a time I thought I was gonna die in San Antonio. There's been some other places where I've had some close calls, so I should visit Vancouver, Canada. I might. You know what? I've never been to Canada, and I've been thinking about going. I mean, I live in Washington, bro. Like, can literally drive up to Canada, so I might just do that. Lots of Mexicans there. I'm guessing you're talking about San Antonio. Yeah, lots of Mexicans there. Interestingly enough, I spoke no Spanish when I lived in San Antonio, so that was cool. Um, I think about all the times in my life where Spanish would have been really helpful, and I'm like, now I can speak and have full conversations, and I'm in a place where like no one speaks Spanish, so super fun, super fun. Well, I ended up staying on here longer than I thought I was going to. Y'all were active tonight. How long did it take me to learn it? Oh, man. It's a tough question. I mean, when you get off of this live, if you want to go through my profile, I have like updates starting from I think like month 5 or 6 because I just didn't have the idea of recording myself the first month. But I would say by the time I got to a year and some change, I was like having full conversations with people. I feel like, cause yeah, like a year and a half. That's when I told like a story about yeah my year and a half video. So literally on the dot, if you look at my 1.5 year video, um, all right, bro. You have a good day too. I made a video about how I had to. This mechanic had to help me, and he didn't speak any English. So that was the first time where I was like, "Yo!" Like I had a full convo with someone about a subject that I don't even know about because I don't know shit about cars. And so I was like, I feel like I can speak Spanish now. And so he literally helped me with my car. I paid him, and like there was no English involved because we couldn't. He couldn't speak English. So that was where I felt like I could do it. And I would say like 2 years in is where I got comfortable to the point that like, um, yeah, like I just from then on till now I don't have any problem speaking with people. Like it doesn't feel like I'm practicing something. It doesn't feel like I'm working hard. It just feels like I'm having a conversation just like I'm having right now. Uh, no, Duolingo sucks. I used to use Duolingo back when I lived in San Antonio, back all these times when I tried to learn in the past, and I never got anywhere. So I just thought like, I just can't learn languages, bro. I just suck. And then I had a breakthrough. No, my wife didn't help me. Me and my wife almost never speak Spanish to each other, interestingly enough, even though it's her first language, even though her whole family only speaks Spanish. Let me explain this to you. Her mom will be in like yesterday when we ate dinner. Her mom's in front of me. She's next to me. Her mom. I'll speak Spanish to her mom. Her mom speaks Spanish to me. She speaks Spanish to her mom. Her mom speaks Spanish to her. We look at each other. We say stuff in English. Like, yeah, you think that? And I go back and speaking Spanish to her mom. And same thing. Like our dance instructor, she's from Colombia. She has a little bit of English. We do the same thing. We'll speak to her in Spanish, and like whenever we have something we want to say to each other, it's not like we're not like trying to shut her out. It's just like we met each other in English, and we met each other when I couldn't really speak Spanish, and so we never spoke to each other in Spanish. And like I didn't want to subject her to that. Like people think like, oh yeah, just get somebody to speak Spanish and you'll be able to, blah blah blah. But bro, like when you go to work and you come home, you don't really want to like listen to someone struggle speaking a second language. Like you want to have a conversation, you want to tell them about your day, you want to ask them about blah blah blah. So it just never happened. How many hours per day did I practice? I don't have a number. I can't quantify it. I'm a persistent person. So like when I get in my car, I put on a podcast in Spanish. To work, from work, I still do that now. Like I listen to my favorite boxers do interviews in Spanish and stuff like that. I watch TV shows in Spanish. I make videos in Spanish. If you haven't seen like my cosas que no sabías, I make series in Spanish. I can't really say. There's no number. I'm not like I'm gonna read for exactly 18 minutes today to complete my 500 minutes per week or something like that. Some days it might be 45 minutes. Other days it might be one. There's been times I've literally read like one page of a book and I'm like, I'm not on this today, bro. Like I'm just not. Um, and I don't have a problem with that. So I just do something every day, a little bit of something. Phil, I know exactly what you're talking about. It sounded like that, but that's not what I said. Because even when I said it, I almost busted out laughing because that's what it sounded like to me too. I don't even remember what I said now. I said something like is. No, I didn't say is because that's what was so funny. I'm like, it sounded like I said speaking, but no. I said something else. It's just been too long now. I just didn't think nobody else caught it. Conversational Spanish is hard. That's subjective. It is, but um, it's a skill. It's a skill, right? And so it's just like English. There's people that aren't good at speaking English, like that, and it's their native language. They're not good at having conversations because they don't have them. They're not good at having high level, like hypothetical conversations because they don't have them. So they might be able to talk about something, but you're like, hey, what would you do if you had $1 million? And they don't know like a good way to respond because they don't think like about intangible things like that, right? Um, so just you just have to find what you struggle with and kind of work on it. It's a little bit weird. Okay, I'm back. How did I really learn if it wasn't Duolingo? Through conversations. Yeah, when you get off of here, go watch any of my videos. I think my most popular video is called like How I Learned Spanish in a Year. And then you can look at any of the interviews that I do with Spanish speakers or Spanish learners. Like for instance, in the morning, I have a an interview scheduled. So I'm gonna do a video with this girl in Germany that's learning Spanish right now. I'll have a conversation with her and I'll help her with her Spanish by talking to her. That's how you learn stuff. Like if you wanted to learn about cars, you need to talk to someone that knows about cars. You'll hear a bunch of new stuff. They'll say camshaft position sensor, and you'll be like, "What's a camshaft position sensor?" I don't actually know what that is. That's just the last thing that was broke on my car. So clearly, I didn't pay enough attention. But you hear camshaft position sensor. The first time you hear it, you have no idea what it means. You ask what it means. The person tells you what it means. You see the camshaft position sensor. The next time you hear it, you say, wait a second. I remember the camshaft position sensor. It's that little thing. The third time, you don't even think about it. Yeah, I need another camshaft position sensor. It's just like that for everything. When I see this, I just think chapstick. The first time I ever saw it, somebody would have had to tell me it was chapstick. And I touch it and I see it and it sticks in my mind. Like I said, I see it now and I think chapstick. I see a light, I think light. Same thing in Spanish, la luz. I don't think, how do you say light? I just see it and I think la luz. Like, that's just because I learned it through experience. When you learn stuff through an app, it's not real life. And like I said, if you watch like any of my videos, I talk about this kind of stuff all the time because I would learn all of this stuff on Duolingo, and then in conversations in real life, I couldn't recall any of it, bro, because it wasn't real. It's just virtual, and it's like there's no context to it, and it's silly. It's like the big red elephant does a backflip, and it's like what? When am I talking about that in real life, bro? So one of my most fond memories in Spanish. It helps a little, sure, sure. I'm not gonna argue with that, but I could, I could, I could pull up 100 people that are doing only Duolingo, and I guarantee you 99 out of them cannot have a conversation. 99. But everyone that learns Spanish the way that I'm learning it, they can all have a conversation. So why would I pick Duolingo over having conversations with people? Like my really good friend in Colombia teaches people Spanish like through Skype. Everyone, the girl that I'm interviewing tomorrow learns through him, which is why we're doing an interview because she's like 6 weeks in, and I've never talked to her in Spanish before, and we'll see what her level is tomorrow. But she's 6 weeks in, and the fact that she's confident enough to get on here and try to speak in only Spanish after 6 weeks. I know people that have been on Duolingo for 6 months, and I'm just like, you don't know the past tense? Like, how is that possible? Like, you don't know how to have a conversation? Like, what are you doing on Duolingo then? And like I said, my friend in Colombia is teaching people for 3 hours per week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or something. 1 hour, 1 hour, 1 hour, and after 6 weeks, we're having conversations. So I'm always gonna pick real life over not real life. But where I was going with this was my most fond memory in Spanish. This is my wife's mom asking me where the pots and pans were. She asked me in Spanish, but she asked me, and I just blanked, bro. I was like, the what? And she kept asking me, and I was like, and she just thought it was hilarious, bro, because I knew enough Spanish. I knew enough Spanish from Duolingo. And she just assumed I would know something that basic. She assumed I would be able to figure it out through context, and I just couldn't, bro. And then when she went in and she grabbed them herself, I'm like, oh, that's Oja. I did know that, but I had never talked about it in a conversation, touched it, saw it while I was talking about it. Like, that is how you learn stuff. If you only learn stuff like as an abstract, it's not the same as learning it in real life. So that's just that's my take. You don't have to agree. Like I said, I could name 100 people that do Duolingo. I actually made a thread on Twitter about becoming fluent in Spanish, and it actually it got a lot of people hot, kind of the same way. A lot of people were like, "No, Duolingo is great," and everyone that said that, I said, "What level of Spanish are you at?" Everyone that replied is that I'm kind of a beginner. Okay, literally to everyone, I said, "Hey, keep doing Duolingo. In 3 months, you should be able to have a conversation. Come on my podcast." Everyone had all these excuses. Well, I can't have a conversation. I'm like, okay, you're 3 months in and you can't have a basic conversation. That shit sucks, bro. I'm not trying to be funny. It's just not great. And there was other people. It wasn't 3 months. They would have been on there for a year, year and a half, 2 years. They got all these achievements on Duolingo. Level 60, I don't know the levels, but they're like level 64. I completed it. I tested out of Spanish. I'm like, come on my podcast. Let's have a very basic conversation. I don't want to make anyone look bad. Even the girl tomorrow, Bria, I'm gonna talk at her level. I'm not gonna like try to throw the most complicated words I can. If she doesn't understand something, I'm gonna say it in a more basic form so that the conversation flows smoothly. And so I'm telling them that too. I'm like, hey, I'm not gonna try to embarrass you or anything. Just come on my podcast. If Duolingo works that well, come on, have a conversation and tell people like, hey, this is the level that you could achieve with Duolingo. No one would take me up on the offer. All the people that I have scheduled and have followed through with it, go watch any of the interviews. I asked them, hey, how did you learn? Almost all of them say, I started having conversations. I went to Spain. I went to Mexico. I went to Colombia. Or I learned on Skype. But all of them say conversation. There was one person, I think, who was it? I have to look it up. There was one person I interviewed that did say that they got a lot from Duolingo. But at the end of the day, they still they still went to the Dominican Republic and they went to Puerto Rico for a long time and their Spanish got a lot better. So I can't say what their level was from Duolingo. But there was one person out of all the people I interviewed that said like Duolingo was like super useful. I won't argue with that. Just saying, for most people, it's not going to do the job, for sure. You love Duolingo Portuguese because of those sentences? No, they're funny sentences. Honestly, I remember. That's why it's funny to me, bro. Because I remember those sentences. Like I tested out of Duolingo like early, bro, and that's when I was like, I think I was like, maybe I just like, I'm not a nervous person, so that was the other thing too. I'm like, damn, maybe I have stage fright or something, bro. Like, how come I can look at all this stuff on Duolingo, instantly click the translation, like whether it was Spanish to English or English to Spanish, I'll be like, oh, that's easy, easy. The boy did a backflip onto a spider's back. That's too easy. But then I'll get in a conversation. I'll be like, Joe, boy, and I'll be like, what? Like, why, bro? Like, why is it like this? But then, like I said, like, the application is not a conversation. A conversation is in real time. You know, I read this stuff. The cats love us. This is random, but the cats love us. Yeah, the cats do love us. I have to receive information, process it, and say something back almost instantly, or else the conversation is weird. That's another thing about Duolingo. It doesn't factor in the anxiety of a conversation. And anxiety is a little bit of a weird word to use there, but it's true. You don't have all the time in the world to respond to people when you're talking. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. If I walk up to you and I say, "Hey, man, how's your day?" and and you go, "Well, you know," I'm like, "Bro, you all right? You going through it, bro? Like, just say you're doing fine and keep walking, bro. I ain't want to get into a deep combo like that. You know what I mean?" And so, like I said, there's a tiny bit of urgency in a conversation that's not on the app. On the app, you take your time selecting the stuff. Even if you do say it fast, you're not having to react to someone else saying it and presenting that information back to them in an understandable way. So it's different. It's different. How you pronounce theirs? I heard people either say is or is. Depends on the context. Depends on the context. Because like there's different versions of that word and people say them wrong. So like obviously like the way you just typed it is a contraction of there is, right? Which is not the same thing as theirs. Like this belongs to them. So kind of different. No, I didn't meet my wife in San Antonio. I met my wife in Washington State, where I'm at right now. My wife is from here, born and raised. For a phone app, it's pretty good. Yeah, I mean, it's not the best phone app that I have tried. The best one that I ever did cost me a little bit of money. It was called Fluencia. I want to say it was like $4 a month or something like that. But it was way more structured. The pictures were more realistic, not like cartoons. And it was at least super 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 contextual. So like it was literally broken down into sections like greetings, and then the next section was like things you say at a party, and the next section was like stuff you say at the office. And so it was like it was real life where they would say stuff like I used to be a doctor or I want to be a doctor. What's your profession and stuff like that. So at least when I started having conversations, it was like, oh, I kind of know how to say that. I don't know how correct it is, but I know where I'm going with it. Um, Horses do not eat us. Hey, it depends on where you're at, bro. What was my main reason for wanting to learn? I had a variety of reasons, to be honest. My wife gets mad when I say this, but I was a personal trainer at the time. One of my clients was from Oaxaca in Mexico, right? She didn't speak any English. She was enrolled in an English class at the local college here, and she was not doing well. Let me just say that. So at the time, I was on Duolingo, and I couldn't talk to her, bro, and I couldn't understand what she was saying when she would talk to me, and like obviously like I could count and like I could say like basic greetings, but outside of like how was your day and like stuff like that, I couldn't say the actual stuff that I wanted to say. I couldn't say, hey, we're about to do some squats. I need you to do this in order that this happens. In order for this to happen, stuff like that. So I would, at the time, I would literally do the exercise, and I'll be like, "Cómo se dice esto?" She said, "Oh, las sentadillas." Okay, las sentadillas. And then like I couldn't say like "Vamos a hacer las sentadillas." I would just say like "las sentadillas." Sí, las sentadillas. And then she would start doing it, and I'll be like, just like that. Like literally, that's how our full training session would go. And I'd just be like, "Bro, I gotta learn how to talk. I gotta learn how to talk." And so yeah, I started basically researching. I'm like, there has to be a better way to do this, and I found a better way. Um, and then just because of that, like I said, my wife's mom and her dad, they're from Guatemala, so they speak Spanish mainly. They can speak English just because they've been here for so long, but same thing like what you're probably experiencing right now. There's a basic level of expression that you have in your second language, and like once you reach that cutoff, there's nowhere to go. Like you have to revert back to your first language if you want to express a higher idea. So like I said, like the point I'm at right now, like anything I want to say in English, I can say in Spanish and vice versa. But on the way up, you're like, oh, this person doesn't understand what I'm saying, and I have no way of making them understand because I don't have the vocabulary that I need to express this idea that I'm having in English, right? The most I've ever bench pressed was 420 pounds. I don't really care for bench pressing, so it's just something that I just do every once in a while. Um, but yeah, I'm a learner, man. I'm a learner. So when you know how to learn, it makes any process easier. And in fact, I benched that 420 pounds to prove to someone else that I could bench better than them. Not as like not to like shit on them, but literally for kind of the same, I was having the same kind of conversation that I was having about Duolingo. He was going about benching the wrong way, and I was like, hey, this is a more efficient way to get to your goal of 405. And he was like, oh, bro, you bench 325. You can't tell me about benching. I've done 365. And I was like, bro, I'll get to 405 before you if I want to because I know what to do to progress because I actually know my stuff and you're just doing it off of brute strength and it's taking you like 6 years to get here. So my original goal was just to get to 405. I mapped it out and I was like, it'll take this long, but I actually just went right on past it just to show him like you should have listened to me, bro. I was trying to help you out. I wasn't trying to be like a dickhead. I wasn't trying to be cocky. I'm just saying, when you know the process, when you know how stuff works, you can do it more efficiently. You can reverse engineer it and say, this is what's necessary. You can do 120 easy. That's good, man. That's good. All you gotta do is just do a little bit more every time, and before you know it, you'll be at 500. Which Spanish speaking country do I like the most? That's tough, man. I like different ones for different reasons, but I like Colombia a lot. So Colombia is definitely high up on my list. But you know, the guy that taught me Spanish originally was from Colombia, so I got a special place in my heart for Colombia. Lots of my friends are from there. Um, my dance teacher's from there. So yeah, Colombia, very very special place in my heart. You like Peru? That's cool. I don't really know nothing about Peru besides the fact that they eat gerbils or hamsters. My bad. It's like a very popular dish there. Very very popular. I've seen the pictures of them frying it up. They be frying that joint up like it's chicken, bro. People are horrified by that, but they're like, it's protein. So that's really all I know about that country. And the fact that Immortal Technique is from there, and I'm old, and so I used to listen to Immortal Technique rap. When I was young, the cool thing to do would be like, hey, you ever heard this song called Dance with the Devil by Immortal Technique? And people be like, nah, what's that? And you're like, let me play this for you. Put the headphone in their ear, bro, change their whole world forever. Change their whole life, bro. And they're like, the mom was, yeah, yeah, it was. Yeah, great story. You like Taco Bell? Uh, Taco Bell's gross. I'm not gonna lie, Taco Bell I did like their what was that shit called? Oh, what was it? It was like a nacho bel grande or something like that. Steak nacho bel grande. That's what it was. I like that one. Haven't had it in probably like 10 years, but that joint was good. Um, yeah. Damn, y'all. I said I was gonna stay out here till 9:30, and it's almost 10:30. Y'all got active, man. Y'all got active. Absolutely slapped for like 4,000 calories for $12. Facts. Facts. Cannot argue with that. Especially when you pull up to that joint late at night, bro. I remember when we still lived in Killeen. Have a good night. Pull up there super late, bro. That joint would taste so good. Stumbling around in Taco Bell. Fill up the big joint with the Baja Blast, bro. Woo! Good times. I miss being young. I miss being young, man. You got to feel the beat. One on 4 Street. Yup. Bro, it's so funny. Like, everyone used to go to the same places, bro. The same Taco Bells. I don't even know, like, I don't know how we would all fit up in there, but it was like everyone after they party would go there. So, All right, man. Take it easy. I don't know what socials you got, but if you got any questions, shoot me a message, Instagram, Twitter, whatever. This doesn't really have messages, but you could comment on the video. But yeah, if you ever want me to make a specific video about a topic that you are struggling with or something, I'll make the video or give you some advice about it. So yeah, but check out the videos. Let me know what you need. I'll make it for you. But have a good night. Map out. I don't even remember when I said that. When did I say that? But yeah, I mean, map out is it is like making a plan. What context did I use it in, bro? I just be talking. I don't even know what I said. What sentence did I say map out in, just so I can make sure I don't lead you astray? The Whataburger by HEB used to be packed. Yeah, facts, dog. Facts, bro. That's what I'm saying though. Like everyone was going to the same places. How were we not getting kicked out of those joints? First of all, but yeah, it was like those were the known spots, and like it was packed, bro. It was lit though. I just said, I just said what? Nah, man. I know I said map out, but I'm trying to figure out what was the sentence I used. Oh. You're saying I taught you map out for, like, instead of making a plan. Okay, I get what you're saying now. I thought you were saying I taught you map out in another context. Like, you knew map out as making a plan, but I taught you a different way. But sorry, I get what you're saying now. Yes, map out means to make a plan or to, yeah. Doesn't necessarily have to be making a plan, but it's the stage before you make a plan. All right, bro. Even though you said that an hour ago and you didn't actually leave or you came back or something, so I'm actually about to get off of here too. So have a good day because you said it was the morning time for you. All right, Phil. It's about to just be me and you, bro. So I think I'm gonna get off of here. Got any last words, Phil? Anything you want to say? Speak now or forever hold your peace. Pause. All right, big dog. I'm about to end this live. Appreciate all y'all. Take it easy.